You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I hope wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing exceptionally well. You're about to hear my chat with a fella called Levi Benton. He's in a band called Miss May I, and I think Levi is one of my favourite ever interview subjects. The reason for the conversation was to promote the then upcoming tour of Australia, which I believe occurred through November of 2017. So let's hear what Levi has to say. Here we go. Hey Levi, it's Andy Mackay-Smith calling. How are you, mate?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad, mate. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
We're in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay, cool.
Indiana.
I spoke to you earlier in the year, and I think you're in Poland or somewhere in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. So you're getting around a bit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know where it stops. I've been going everywhere but home.
Yeah. When do you get to go home? When does the tour finish?
Halloween, this one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
11 more days.
Oh, mate, awesome, mate. Well, you'll enjoy that, mate. I'm sure you'll sleep for about 2 or 3 days straight.
Oh my, I'm already counting down. Wait.
All right, mate. I'll kick things off. You're 6 albums down, mate, and the most recent album being the 2017 release via Sharptone Records, Shadows Inside. You've got a bunch of shows in Australia coming up after you have that break, of course, and you do have a considerable fan base down here. Why do you think you connect with Australian audiences?
Why do I think we connect?
Yeah, why do you think you connect so well with Australian audiences?
Oh man, I don't know. Australia's always been such an awesome place for us. Even since before we even been there, back in like MySpace days when you could check analytics, Australia's always been within the top 3, and even to this day, they're still in like the top 5. It's crazy. It's been such a, and that's including like every country in the world. So it's always been great for us, and then going there was even crazier. It's like some of the biggest shows I've ever played is in Australia and some of the biggest followings. But I don't know the reason really. I know everywhere other than America, metal is huge, and I think it's so cool that you guys have bands like Amity Affliction and Parkway Drive that are really like mainstream there and can go gold and can play like tennis arenas that would never ever fly in the U.S. And I think it's really cool that metal is such a more mainstream type of music in Australia. And I think that's why it's always been great for us. And it's just like Europe, just I don't want to say a better Europe because I don't want to dog on Europe, but Australia is just like it's just great. Like Australia and Europe are like where metal lives for us.
Yeah, cool, mate. Yeah, no, it is something that I've noticed as well, actually. My sister-in-law loves Amity Affliction, but that's the only metalcore band that she likes, for example. It just seems to be one of those things that the bands that do make it and do really well, like Parkway Drive and Amity, they seem to cross over to all fans of not just rock music, but just music in general. So you've got some kids who like 5 Seconds of Summer and One Direction who'll end up getting into Amity Affliction. I've noticed it too. I don't know what it is. I think it's just... Maybe it's, when I say token, maybe they're just, I'm going to experiment and listen to something a little bit harder and heavier. And maybe our lifestyle here, because we like surfing and skateboarding and being active a lot more, maybe it's just music that suits
it. Extreme, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It just suits the wild and woolly nature of Australians. There you go. All right. We had a chat earlier in the year, as I said, and... Mate, you gave me a bit of a scoop. You mentioned that your mother was injured at a gig. Can you recount that story? Because I do host a podcast these days, mate. I'd like it if you could recount that story for the listeners, if it's okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. So she's a big metalhead. She was going to see Meshuggah, and she calls me, and I was on tour, and she called me from the hospital, and she was like, hey, I'm in the hospital. I was at Meshuggah, and she's always about going in the pit. Like, last time I went to a show with my mom, when it was just me and my mom, because I don't go in the pits anymore. I'm very jaded because I play shows and I see it every night, so I stand in the back because I'm like, screw that. I do this every night. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. My mom's not like that. Last time I took her to a show was like Marilyn Manson. She pulled me into the pit, and I'm like getting punched and pushed around. I'm like, I haven't done this in a long time. And my mom's like mid-40s having a blast, and she's like, just destroying people. And so she calls me and she's like, hey, I went to this Meshuggah, I'm in the hospital. And She was in the pit, and she went to the show by herself, which both of those don't make any sense. I'm like, I don't know why you went to a metal show by yourself and got in the pit by yourself. But she got elbowed in the face so hard that it crushed her eye socket, and she had to get a metal plate. She had to get her eye removed, get a metal plate put in her face, and then her eye reinserted. And you would never be able to tell. It's just so funny because now we always talk about it and make like Terminator jokes, me and my little brothers, and she like never listens to Meshuggah ever again since that show. It like scarred her for life.
Oh, I can imagine that it would. Yeah, I only went to a Meshuggah show at the beginning of the year, and mate, some of the bloody complete psychopaths that go into the pit for Meshuggah. Yeah, she's a very brave woman, put it that way.
That's what I'm saying. And she went by herself. I'm like, what are you thinking? This is next level.
Yeah, completely.
She's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I stood way back.
She's way tougher than I'll ever be.
Yeah, cool, mate. All right, well, hey, mate, let's talk tattoos. So I'm the prouder of two rather small efforts that were applied in the late 90s, or one of them was applied in the late 90s and one was applied in the very early 2000s, but you've got some classic ink happening. Is there a story or theme across your considerable artwork?
Yeah, with the line, are you talking about artwork on this last record or throughout all of them?
Oh, talking about your tattoos, actually. I've noticed that you've got quite a few tattoos.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
Is there a theme running through all of the tattoos you've got? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have each one of my arms are different themes. So my right arm is sort of like mementos and stuff I want to, sort of messages and stuff I want to like live by. And then my left arm is it's all my family tattoos, so it has to do with just like my wife, my little brothers, my mom. That's like my entire left arm is all family. And then I'm trying to think. Yeah, actually every single part of my body is pretty themed. It's not really mixed and matched or anything. It's pretty thought out. And then my left leg is sleeved, and that's all like tour tattoos and all stuff from like, and each thing has to do with where I got it tattooed at, with what's country and everything. So I have like an Arizona big piece when like our first tour ever, and then all the way down the little countries we've been to, and it's all over the place.
You're going to do what one of the members of Steel Panther, when he was in Australia, I think when they were in Sydney, he got a kangaroo or a platypus or something like that tattooed on him when he was in Bondi, I think it was. He went to, Bondi Ink. It's one of our more famous tattoo shops here. Would you do something similar, do you think?
I already beat you to it. I already got a kangaroo and crossbones the first time I went to Australia.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a kangaroo skull with crossbone surfboards. The whole band has the same tattoo. And it says, "Good day, mate."
Oh, sweet, mate. What city did you get that done in?
Oh man, I think Perth. I can't really. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Perth.
Nice. Okay, Perth.
I'm
represent.
the worst person.
Nice
Location.
No, good, mate. You're a travelling musician, mate. It's effectively what you do. Do you feel less like a musician and more like somebody who's travelling the globe with the amount of touring you do?
Sometimes it depends what kind of touring we do. Like, because sometimes, like in the U.S., we definitely feel like we're just not a touring band because there's so many long drives every single night for almost 2 months. But when we do like South America or Europe, sometimes Australia or Japan, like places that are more exotic for us, and we're flying to every single show, you totally forget that you have to play a show sometimes because you're packing your bag, going to the hotel, you go out to eat, you're doing just like, you feel like a businessman, and then it gets to 6 o'clock for a sound check, and you're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot I have to play a show tonight. We've been traveling all day to get here.
So I was talking to the bassist, sorry, his name escapes me at the moment, from Mayday Parade. And I'd just come back from the Philippines, spending some time over there because my wife's half Filipino, so most of her family's over there. And we're talking about the really shitty things about airports. So, mate, given that you spend so much time in airports, travelling, etc., what's your pet peeve or what do you really dislike about airports?
Oh, man. I hate when... My biggest pet peeve is when there's not connections in between, like, the terminals. because sometimes, like, if you're doing, like, we'll get put in airports and, like, say you're hungry or most of the time you're starving in between flights. And there's some airports, you land in the terminal, and there'll be, like, a cookie stand, and then all the food is in another terminal, and they're like, yeah, there's no pass over there, though, so you're stuck here for 2 hours. I'm like, with cookies? I can't eat a sandwich or nothing? Like, I have to... And then you're like, no, that's where the terminal's at, and you're stuck here. And then you can't do nothing. And that happens, like, all the time to where... Or if it's a late flight and we're doing, like, a red eye and you show up at 11, you'll be in a terminal where everything closed because it's just like a newspaper stand with some chips, and all the good stuff is in the domestic terminal that you can't even get into, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm stuck here, like, starving. That's my biggest pet peeve. But slowly, thanks to Vallarta's murder, they've set us up with our flying rewards because we're very irresponsible, and so hopefully we'll be in the little lounges soon.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you're actually taking advantage of all of the travelling miles that you're doing, so as though you can put that toward the lounge, spending time in the lounge and getting all the cool food that's in the Qantas lounge or the United lounge or whatever it might be.
Yeah, they snuck us in last time because they get to bring a guest, so IR took us in. And I'm like, this is way cooler than what we've been doing.
Oh, it's a massive deal. I used to travel a lot for my job, actually, and mate, the biggest difference that I remember was I used to sit in exactly like what you're saying, sitting in the terminal, waiting for the plane to come. You've got, with all due respect, you've got to look great unwashed around you, but then you get, your Qantas Club membership or whatever lounge for whatever airline you might be a member of or you might be travelling with. And then you go into their lounge and, mate, there's orange juice, there's croissants, there's fruit salad, there's some really nice Chinese food, whatever it might be, and it changes the game, doesn't it, completely?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy, and it's whatever you want to do. And some airports have, like, crazy perks in their lounges. Like, I know LAX has, like, a masseuse or something in theirs, and you're just like, this is insane. It's, like, not real life. I'd rather travel all day than be at home if it's going to be like that.
Yeah, sweet. All right, okay, so I appreciate that it's very early to be asking this question because you've had an excellent album that you've released this year, but have you got any ideas for the next album already?
Oh yeah, I think we always have a riff bank and stuff that we're writing. I think we have 12 songs, like just 12 riff ideas, just like ideas of songs. But yeah, we're always writing and always having some great ideas. But so yeah, the answer is yeah, we're on the next thing, and it's sounding crazy. Because you always want to beat yourself. So every time you write something, like, okay, this has to be way cooler than what we just did, and it's like the most stressful feeling in the world.
Cool, mate. No worries. Well, that's it for me. I really appreciate having this chat for the second time this year, mate. You're a legend. I think the band's fantastic, and I think you guys will be very well received by your Australian fans. I know a lot of people are anticipating the tour. It's in a month's time, I think, isn't it? It's early November.
Yeah, November 20th starts, first show.
All right, well, there you go, mate. All right, well, good luck with everything, mate, and hopefully we'll see you down here.
Oh, thanks, man. Hope to see you soon.
You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and that was my conversation with Levi Benton, the frontman for Ohio-based metalcore outfit Miss May I. Thank you so much for listening.